All right, Dustin, how's it going, my man?
What's up? God damn, let me hang on.
All right, not a problem. Not a problem.
There we go. Let me see, where am I? All right, right here. Okay.
We can see, we can hear, everything's good?
I think so. We're good to go.
Thank God. I tell you what, my man, you know, I went and I changed spots in my house where I had another room where I was initially doing these, and the first couple, one that I did with Nick, and I've had different things with connections that I've been really trying to get some shit, you know, going so it's not messing up. So I'm like, oh, yeah, thank God.
Yeah. Hey, am I sideways or am I good?
It is right now, but when I go to edit it for YouTube, I'll have it edited so that it's right next to each other, so it looks good. So it's if that's more comfortable for right now, that's perfectly fine. It's not a problem.
How's that?
That's good. That's awesome.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, if you're all set, I'm really excited to dig into this. First off, thank you very much.
I'm all set.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate the time, my man. This has been an awesome journey. Hearing so much about the movie and the invitation, getting to come to the premiere, and yourself being there as well, and hearing some of the behind the scenes about the movie. So I'm really excited to dig into some of your interests as well as your work on an Intrusion. So first of all, let me say thank you very much for taking the time today, my man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I wish I had some of your shades to cover up all these crow feet and dark eyes. Maybe I should go get my sunglasses. Maybe I should do that.
There you go. All right. Let me ask you, so starting off early on, in childhood, you've mentioned in an interview watching One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at an early age. Bring us back to watching that movie. And for the first time, maybe some of the particular scenes or some of the roles that stood out to you, as far as the acting in that movie that stood out.
Well, I think the whole film itself, my father, he allowed me at an early age to watch this film, and that was unreal to me. And I remember watching it, and he would be laughing at times in the film, and I was so young, I didn't understand why. But the older I got, the more I watched it, and I was realizing that the actors in this film, they weren't really mental patients. They were actors, and that just blew my mind, because I know you've probably seen the film. Have you seen it? Yeah. My God. And every single person in there was unreal. And that right there it got me really interested in watching more independent films, I guess, than, commercialized films, big films. So that was a big impact on me. And seeing, the Big Chief and the relationship he had with Jack Nicholson, and then Jack Nicholson himself in the film, it was probably the first film I fell in love with by far.
Wow. Okay. All right. And it being something too where, maybe not necessarily the first idea that would come to mind as far as, a childhood, like a memory of, loving a movie. I mean, that movie's pretty dark, pretty deep in moments, certainly this is heavy content.
Yeah. You would think it would be like, Bambi or some shit like that. But no, for me, it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's it. Which served well for an Intrusion.
That is funny. All right, so how about as far as possibly an earlier role, as far as yourself taking on acting, or maybe even dressing up for Halloween? Bring us back to a costume that you were excited about, possibly whether in childhood or even recently, that you had to take on maybe a personality or a little bit of a different accent, when you're dressing up for.
Right. I don't know how old you are, but how old are you, by the way?
33.
Okay, then you probably know what I'm talking about, with the mask, the hot plastic mask with the rubber bands and stuff. Yeah. I was 7 or 8, and I remember the first time.
Couple of those bad boys?
Yep. I was Darth Vader.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Love it.
And I thought I was the shit with this Darth Vader costume, rather. And I remember the mask. I remember the rubber band broke on the back, just like it does every fucking Halloween. And I had the old plastic costume. And every time I got out of the truck, my father was driving me around. And every time I got out of the truck to go to the house, I remember, my knees would catch it and rip, but just a little bit more and a little bit more. And, Darth Vader was the first one. And, when Walking Dead was really, I guess it's still big. The Walking Dead was really big 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I got stopped so many times in Atlanta airports and other places thinking I was Sheriff Rick.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I never even thought of that. I totally see it.
Back then, I had my hair grown out a little bit. I looked like an out of work porn star. And I had a big beard, right? And I was in Atlanta. Me and a friend of mine was in Atlanta. And we were at this Journey concert. And I found out later that Comic-Con was in Atlanta that year, that same weekend. And I was in the same hotel, didn't know this, that The Walking Dead was staying in, that was going to this Comic-Con. Oh, and all these people, when I was walking around, they thought I was Sheriff Rick.
Oh, shit. That's
walking around. I had 15-year-old girls wanting to take a picture with me, posting it on social media. And I said, I'm not this guy. They said, we don't care. We're just going to lie and just say it.
That's awesome. That's cool. I was going to ask if at some point you were like, I'm just going to play along with it. But they didn't give a shit. They're just like, just take the picture.
I finally didn't give a shit. I finally just played along with it. Like, yeah, I'm him.
That rules. I love that. That's funny. How about as far as, early on with possibly maybe not scanning video aisles quite yet, but, going to a local movie theater or, seeing a poster art or seeing a cover art of some sort? What's something that comes to mind that drew you in possibly at a video rental a little bit later on or at a movie theater? What's some poster art that comes to mind?
Jaws.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. The big Jaws. I mean, that just, as far as poster art, as simple as it was, that just stands out to me. Yeah. the big Jaws coming up, the person swimming, you see the legs underneath the water, the Jaws coming up with the big ass mouth. And that's what I think. Every freaking time I swim in the ocean, that's what I think about. I'm thinking, holy shit, I cannot see underneath this water what's coming after me. And I actually have a story about that. A few years ago, we were at the beach, and me and my youngest daughter, Rachel, we rented a kayak. You're on the beach. Sometimes you rent a kayak. People, kayak around the beach or whatever the hell. And so she wanted to do it. Said, okay, let's do it. So we got a kayak, and we went out probably maybe 200 yards out in the ocean with this kayak. And I looked to the left, and of course she's in the front, I'm in the back. And I look to the left, and I see a fin. We're at the Gulf. Of course, I live in Arkansas, so it's not that far from us. And I kind of slowly said, well, let's turn back. I didn't want to scare her, right? I knew it was a shark. It was probably like a tiger shark or something like that, which is still dangerous.
Yeah.
And then I started to turn around, and she caught it. She said, "Oh, there's a shark. Let's go over here." And and unfortunately, when I was trying to turn around, we started getting close, or she started getting closer and closer to us. And I saw the fin, at the front fin, and then I saw the tail fin. It was probably if I had to guess, 8-foot tiger shark. We could easily fucking take us both out if it wanted to.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But because we were going towards a place, I don't know if you've been to the beach. There's a beach, and then there's a deep spot, and then you go about 100 yards, and then there's a shallower place that you can stand. Yeah, exactly. And that's where he was. That's where we were going. We're going to the sandbar. We could stand up, take pictures, whatever. No. And we turned around, and his back tail started flopping around, and I turned around and said, nope, we're going back. and I looked to the left, and there were people swimming towards this shark.
Oh, man.
And that right there just proved to me again, I'm not fucking with the ocean. That's their playground, not mine. So anyway, that's my Jaws story.
And myself being in Michigan, I'm surrounded in all just, not salt water. It's all lake water, fresh water. But still, I get to a point where I can't see underneath me, or the water starts getting a little murky where, I can't feel what's underneath my feet. It's not happening.
Nope.
My boy and I, he's 12. He has all the courage in the world and wants to go further. And I'm like, fuck that, man. I'm going back.
Nope.
I see how this shit goes.
Exactly. Yeah. With you guys in Michigan, you guys have lakes. So I've seen Jason Voorhees come out of the lake and grab somebody and pull him under. That's where my mind goes. The kid version of Jason Voorhees pulling your ass out of the canoe into the lake. Nah, I'm good.
It's hilarious.
I'll stick to my pool, and even then, I still check and make sure there's not like a fucking alligator at the bottom of it or something before I dive in.
Yeah, you see that type. Did I get you?
Yeah. No, I got you.
Okay. Here we go. No, I was just going to mention too, my father-in-law, it's funny because he'll always mention, about how I love horror movies so much, but if we go out, like on a trail with the family and we go for a walk or something, you hear a creak, it's like, oh, maybe that's, such and such. And he's like, I don't think of any of this shit. I don't watch these scary movies where this stuff doesn't come to my mind. You're ruining yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but God, I love it.
Yeah, I do love it, but then it just ruins shit for me because
right.
When my wife and I, when we first got married, we moved to Dallas, and we had this, of course, when you first get married, you have no money. And we lived in this, this small apartment in Grand Prairie, Texas. And I had just watched, oh shit, what was the name of it? God damn, I just went blank. See, this is what happens when you get 46. You go blank. What was the 90s film where it was a trendsetter where they just used the film, they were out in the woods and
at the Blair Witch Project?
There you go. Okay. I just watched that and I didn't go outside for about 2 months. I did not take my dog out at night for like 2 months without a flashlight. I think it was so bad the dog actually for like 2 straight months just shit in the house because I didn't take her out.
You go. I'm just gonna get one of those piss pads and I'll put it in the corner.
Exactly. Nope. You just glad to go to the bathroom in the house. I'm fine with it.
That is funny. Okay, so touching on this, as far as what about 3 scenes in films, maybe even outside of horror, that are just forever ingrained in your brain, whether something from Jaws or maybe Blair Witch, things that just pop in your mind as far as that were either terrifying or gross or just straight up unforgettable. 3 scenes in films.
Well, I can think of a couple right off the top of my head. Of course, Blair Witch has to be, at the end when they're screaming and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden the camera turns around. There's someone just standing in a corner. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that scared the shit out of me, but it did. And then Salem's Lot. When I was when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, I remember the scene when the vampire was floating in the air outside the guy's window, mm-hmm. and he let him in like a dumbass. That scene right there traumatized me as a kid because I remember watching it and I was so scared, and my mother made me go to bed in my room by myself, and I screamed. I was so scared to go to sleep by myself. And still to this day, Salem's Lot is one of those films that I'm like, I'm not watching it. It's one of those. It's when you're scanning through and it's around Halloween, you see Salem's Lot, you just keep on going. Nope, I'm not watching that. Not watching that one.
Oh my God, that is funny. That is funny. And with that too, mentioning, it's like you have certain scenes like that where it's like, I feel like I don't have to be a horror connoisseur to know that I have some creepy fucking thing floating outside of my window and think it's a good idea to let him in. You know, it's like, what?
No, no, not at all.
Specifically writing this scene just for me to yell at the goddamn screen right now? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. I'm done. I'm done. Like I said, I could be flipping through the channel and my daughters can be like, oh, let's stop there. No. You have TVs in your room. If you want to go watch it, go watch it. I'm not watching it.
Oh, man, that is funny.
Not happening.
So as far as digging in from your interest as far as in film to, kind of taking it on, so to speak, and starting with South Pacific. So this was a theater piece, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, as far as the origins, though, and kind of getting into it, how did this come about? And what were maybe some of the challenges and some, with that initial experience?
The biggest challenge was I can't fucking sing.
Okay. That'll be one. It's a musical, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And, it was a musical here in town. And Kathy Lyon was the lady that was directing it. And she asked me, she said, would you like to come audition for something? I said, sure, I'll come audition. I said, I can't sing. It's a musical. I could probably act, but I can't sing. So I went and just wanting a small part, right? Just a very small part. And I ended up getting Joe Cable, Lieutenant Joe Cable, which is like one of the
bigger parts.
The biggest character. Jesus Christ. So I had to learn to sing in like 15 days. And the very first, and the very first showing was in front of probably 500-600 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So that kind of probably ruined me on theater. And I said, I think I'm just going to go to film from now on.
Okay.
Because there was actually a couple times, there was a couple scenes in South Pacific where me and the guy, there was one guy that was playing, I can't remember what character, but anyway, we could not get the scene at all. And we forgot. It didn't matter. If he remembered his lines, I forgot mine. If I remembered mine, he forgot his. We couldn't get it together. And we completely screwed up the entire scene. And that's when I was like, I like film because if you fuck up, you can say, let's do it again.
Try it again. Yeah, sure.
We'll trash it. We'll do it again.
Okay.
So, yeah, I really respect people in theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you can't, what you do on stage, you can't take back, whether good or bad. And the thing about film is if you do it bad, you can always take it back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
With South Pacific, was that something was it a bigger script too within, how many days that you had as far as figuring all this out? Was that a bigger script that you had to go into memorizing and with lots of lines?
It really didn't have a lot of dialogue. It was more of the learning the songs.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of hard to learn the songs when you can't sing.
You're like, I don't know what the disconnect is here, but this is not working out here.
Like, oh my God, this is not good. And then the theater, sometimes you do 2 shows a day.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be such a disaster.
How many shows did you end up doing with that program?
Let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'd say probably about 6.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Within a 3 or 4 day period.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Sunday I was pretty much done.
for life. That's it.
I was done. I was on fumes. I was like, okay, we're done with this. I'm never coming back to theater ever again.
Okay. Well, so
it's film.
How did the transition go to film then, as far as from having that and be like, I'd really like to try something with this? What were initial steps into working into film?
Honestly, man, my film career kind of started on a really on an accident. Me and my wife was driving back to work at lunch, and there was a film that was being filmed probably about 15 minutes away, and I seen it on a certain website that said we're accepting all auditions, and she said, you should go audition, because she knew I've always wanted to be in film. So I went. It was right before I was going to go on vacation, so I went and auditioned, and just wanting a small part, just like South Pacific, and auditioned, and I'm getting one of the supporting roles. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? So I ended up doing that, and I just loved just the whole getting prepared for a character, just how film is made. A lot of people don't realize it's not as magical as you think it is. And just going to set every day, making new friends, just seeing how everyone else gets prepared, learning from them. And I just fell in love with the whole process.
Sure. Okay. Have there been certain things that still resonate even early on with these first projects that, or maybe something that you hold on to as far as an approach to something, or possibly like a tip that somebody gave, if you were kind of stumped with a role?
There was my first agent here in Arkansas. He told me, he said, Dustin, he said, sometimes you just gotta shut the fuck up and just say the lines.
Okay.
Not every scene has to be Oscar worthy. Sometimes you just got to say the lines and get through the scene and move on to the next one. And that's true. There's a lot of, me stepping on toes saying this, there's a lot of actors that just try to just, every scene is just, sometimes you just gotta get through it. Because not every scene, not every day is going to be, you're feeling it. It's like, oh, I'm just not feeling it. I just don't want to do it, But sometimes you just gotta get through the scene and just get through it, and just say the lines, get through the scene, move on to the next one. And I've lived by that, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and by doing that, you save your energy for the scenes that really need that performance.
Okay. Okay.
Because of what, like for an Intrusion, I was 13 days straight, and there were some scenes where I was like, I just got to say my lines and just get through it, man. Because there are other scenes coming up that I really got to bring it. And it worked out, right. Because you will exhaust yourself if you try to just give it your all. Everybody says, I'm going to give it my all every scene. Okay, go for it. Because when it comes to the scene when you really have to give it your all, you're going to be out of fuel.
So I can respect that too, out of seeing certain things and it feeling like it's a pressure, kind of taking away the organicness of just being a human, and it, not being a remembered line that you're having to put out word for word and making sure that it's perfect. Then all of a sudden you just look like a damn robot. I can respect that. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I like that approach.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
That can strip away a lot of the just natural emotion from a human being. So yeah, I like that. That's a good tip that he gave out there. It's something to live by for sure. As far as also for, like for newer actors or people that are getting into the things that watch these interviews too. I appreciate, those types of things because, some people I think kind of grasp onto that, trying to, push everything that they can at all, points. And then you're 10 minutes into the process and you're tired as shit.
Yeah. And you got, holy shit, I got 10 more days.
Yeah.
How am I going to do it?
Yeah. Okay. So next I wanted to touch on Poor Mama's Boy, and how was this what you were talking about was that the initial audition process that you had that you went for? That was an open call?
Yeah. Dalton Coffey, who is the director of Poor Mama's Boy, he was like, really just like, I got to find somebody for this role. I got to find somebody for this role. And my agent at the time was like, okay, he read the script and was like, I think this guy, talking about me, would be kind of perfect for this role. So, but they had already cast the lady who was playing my wife. And they said, okay, we're going to bring him on, audition with this lady to see if they have chemistry. And I went and auditioned, and we instantly just hit it off. Okay. And there was actually, the director told me, he said, there was one scene where I completely forgot my line, and I just like, fuck, I just forgot my line. And we all just started laughing. It was no big deal. And the director was like, I cast you because you didn't take it as serious. You know, you just like, I forgot my line. Oh shit. All right. We just laughed and had a good time. It was humorous. And apparently he dug that. So, okay. So he cast me based on me fucking up. So good deal. You know what? If everybody did that, I would be fucking top 10 actor because I fuck up a lot.
But I mean, I think that the genuine approach behind, kind of like going back to earlier, the genuine approach behind just saying, well, this happened, let me go back and read this really quick, and I got you this next time, learn from it and try to move on the best you can, and, not sit with your tail between your legs.
I think the scene was, I was auditioning and she was behind me, and we were conversing back and forth, and I was, and I said something, and I paused for a second, and I was like, I couldn't remember my wife's character's name. And I paused for a second, and there was like this dead air. And I was like, God damn, I can't even remember my wife's name. and then my agent and the lady that played my wife was just busting out laughing. And then I think he dug that. And that's from that. And plus he was on like a really, strict timeline. He was like, yep, you know what? This guy made me laugh. Let's hire him. So, it worked out.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So as far as how did it come about you meeting Taylor Scott and working with him on Last Call? Tell us about your character Luke in this bad boy. This short was awesome.
My gosh. Thank you. So it was a time in my career when nothing was going on. And I was like, I want to do something. I got some money saved up. I want to make my own film, but I'm not a writer at all. I've got good ideas, but I just can't put it, when God made me, he was like, yeah, I'm just going to, from here to here, it's just not happening. I've got it all up here. That's why I got to get somebody else to do this. But we became friends on social media, and he said, I'm a writer, check this script out that I wrote. And he sent it to me, and I was like, I really like the script. So I told him, I said, what can I do? I want to make this, I want to try to produce this. And when I read it, I was like, but I want to be Lucifer because I love that character. And so we worked some things out, and I got with the director, Blake Elder from Rock Hill Studios in Fayetteville here in Arkansas. Okay. And he read the script, and he was like, dude, let's make it. And I got with him. He pulled some strings, got some people, and I ended up just all the people in there. I just cast myself. And the thing with casting is, I didn't even make them audition. I've seen what they've done in the past. I was like, yeah, they can handle that scene. They can handle this. So I didn't make them audition. I just went ahead and cast them. And I got with the director, and me being one of the leads and producing, I realized I don't want to do that again. I am not going to produce ever again. I just want to act, and that's it. I'm just going to act. So it was probably a 3-day process. We filmed it in 3 days, and at the same bar. And I got some of the best actors in Arkansas, and they read the script. They loved it. They was all on board, and I was really appreciative of that. And we made a good short film. It got into a lot of festivals.
Yeah, for sure.
And won a lot of awards. Honestly, I'm surprised. But we did a good job. And all right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Shit, hang on. Okay, you got me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Someone tried to call me and booted me out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no problem.
And then, you know, we made the film. It made into, God, probably 30 festivals and did really well. I was really surprised about that. And so anyway, you know, I got out there with that film and I really started promoting the film, promoting myself. And Sam saw me, and he knew that Nick was looking for a certain type of character. And he got with Nick and said, "Hey, you're looking for this guy might fit, you know, this character." So Nick got with me, sent me the sides, and I ended up auditioning, and just there you go.
Dang. Okay. Well, so it was off of that short then that they had discovered you and found. Oh wow. Yeah. No shit.
Yep. And then Nick actually watched Poor Mama's Boy, and he enjoyed the film, and he loved the Southern accent, and so there we go.
Okay. Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here talking to you.
Yeah. Okay. That was one I was trying to find that, and I was looking online, and I didn't know if there was like a DVD copy that I just had to snag, but I didn't get to watch it beforehand. But I was really looking forward to seeing that, because that looks like it's another deep story, you know, for sure, you know, as far as the stuff that you've been involved with too.
Are you talking about Poor Mama's Boy?
Yeah.
It was all filmed here in Arkansas, and every location is a real location. Like they there was a couple scenes in this trailer that they used. They didn't have to do anything. That trailer was perfect. You know, it was like there was shit everywhere, cobwebs and everything. You know, you would have to spend at least $500,000 to recreate that shit. And they got it for free.
Oh, man.
It was a piece of shit, which is perfect for the film.
Right.
You know?
Whoever got the production designer on that one boy, they're doing all right today.
Yeah.
Well,
they're
shit to it.
Nope, nothing. Their job was easy.
Oh man, that's awesome. You know, and those kind of things fall in line, or even, you know, kind of a juxtapositioning. But, you know, as far as with Nick, you know, working in Michigan here and being able to have, you know, the police forces and the EMTs on hand, you know, it's like,
yep.
It's so fucking cool to be able to see some of those things and to see, you know, like a genuine, or, you know, just knowing local, you know, around Arkansas and being able to be like, that's that trailer. They didn't have to do a fucking thing to that thing to be absolute trash.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that at all.
Right.
You know, when you're going through Intrusion, you know, we had the Arkansas premiere a couple nights ago. Yeah. And I was sitting by my wife and I was like, yeah, that's a real EMT. Yeah, that's a real cop. You know, I mean, that's pretty cool when you can get people that looks like cops, talks like cops, talks like EMTs, acts like EMTs. You can't put a price on that.
I mean, myself, just as a viewer, you know, not having anything involved with the movie, pulling up to the Michigan premiere, and they had the two, you know, squad force vehicles up front with the flashing lights. I was like, this is so fucking cool, dude. Like, this is that's the type of stuff that, you know, it invokes memories, you know, for years to come, you know, just as far as like an overall experience, not just a movie walking into, but then seeing that, I was like, fucking, this is awesome, man. That's sweet.
You know what, when I pulled up to the Michigan premiere, I was staying right across the street, and I pulled up to the Michigan premiere and I walked across the corner and I looked and I seen all these flashing lights, and I was already nervous as shit, by the way. And I pulled up. It was probably, I think the premiere maybe started 7:30, something like that. And I pulled alongside, turned around the corner about 6, and I looked and I saw the lights, and I was like, And I was like, nope. I walked right into the bar, got a few drinks to kind of loosen up. And yeah, because I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on here? We got lights, we got cop cars. Yeah. I need some alcohol to help me through this one.
Oh man, that is fun. So how did the Arkansas premiere go then? Was there other people there, or was this just you that appeared there? I should shit, you're leading the movie.
Yeah, it was. Sorry. No, it's fine. No, it was just me. I had a lot of people show up from here in town. A lot of old good friends from high school that came to the thing, which is very special to me. To have people from my past support me in this endeavor, it was really cool. Mm-hmm. And it went really well. I mean, the energy of the audience was awesome. You know, they laughed when they're supposed to laugh. They ooh and ahhed when they're supposed to do that. And it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. You know, there was a couple scenes. One scene in particular, you've seen the film, the which I'm not giving anything away by saying this, but the car scene with me and Erica, mm-hmm. and you know, she's trying to, you know, get with me, you know, as a wife and husband. I'm just, you know, I'm not interested in things like that. But the dialogue is really kind of like, it's pretty uncomfortable, you know, when you're sitting around people that grew up in the Bible Belt, you know. Yeah. So I'm like, I kept telling my wife, here it comes. Yep. And then sure enough, with it, you know, when she started, it's like whenever you're, you know, from the restaurant, the scene ends and we're in the car and everybody thinks everything's, you know, all Hallmark. And then all of a sudden she looks at me and goes, why don't you fuck me anymore? And everybody goes, what? Yeah. You know? And I was just like, oh shit. All right. But anyway, you know, it's just, you know, it's the way it is. Yeah. And, but yeah, those scenes like that was probably the most uncomfortable. Me doing things that all the other scenes that I've done in the film, the dialogue was probably the most uncomfortable, like scenes like that. Like, you know, between, you know, Erica and I, but Erica was, I mean, I can't say, you know, she's unreal.
Phenomenal. You know, for sure.
Oh, I mean, I don't even know if there's a word for her. I mean, when we were on set, you know, going back and forth in scenes, you know, just there were, as an actor, there are some actors that bouncing off of them, it's like bouncing off a brick wall. But for her, it was like a fucking trampoline. You know, it was like bam, 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 bam. She kept coming back at me. Uh-huh. And I was like, I better step up my game, or I'm gonna look like a moron. You know? So she was unreal. She brought my game to a different level. And as an actor, you that's what you want.
Can't ask for more. Yeah, for sure.
No, not at all. Nope,
and it makes it feel like a real marriage, because it's like, look, we're not really married. You don't have to win every battle that we're having here. You know, we got to settle this down here. We're just acting. We're trying to, you know, work out these things, but it's scripted. You don't have to win everything.
Yeah. And, you know, I think she's been married a while, and I've been married for over 20 years. So us being in those situations, even though a lot of those situations I've never been in, but talking to your wife and talking to your teenage daughter, I have 2 teenage daughters. So, you know, in those scenes, it was like, I just pretty much just reverted back to real life and just,
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, how would I treat my own daughter in this situation? I just went with that.
Okay. All right. So this is, you know, going along the lines of this next question too, and mentioning in some of your interviews, you've mentioned as far as real life, you know, being, you know, the biggest inspiration as far as your approach with acting. And, you know, are there particular moments that, you know, come to mind as far as, you know, emotions with different things that, you know, maybe something that easily pisses you off that you can remember, or something that, you know, puts you in the headspace, like when you were doing the balcony scene? That honestly, I've said this, you know, to everybody I've talked to, but that scene in particular is probably one of the hardest scenes to watch and get through that I can remember, you know, of all the stuff I've watched this year. It was incredibly fun.
Yeah. You know, even I've seen it 25 times, and every time I almost shed a tear every time I watch it, because my character is such an asshole. Really, it's hard to watch my character. I'm like, God, you're such a dick. Why did you do that? But a lot of it has to do with how she brought it. And I always tell her that there's a point in that monologue. I don't know why, but it gets me every time. When she asked me, she said, and I'm probably ruining so much shit here, but she said, is there someone else? And I was like, yeah, there is. And then she takes a drink and she sits there for a second and she just starts crying and like spit comes out of her mouth. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real life.
That's tough.
That's real life. And when I watch that, I just like, God, I feel so sorry for her character. Mm-hmm. And then I look at myself, I'm like, you dickhead, how could you do this to a woman?
Like, that's me. What the hell?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, God, what an ass. Yeah. So anyway, what was the question? I completely went off the rails.
Just as far as particular moments that kind of bring you in that headspace, whether, you know, it's something that you're shooting and you're supposed to portray that you're just so pissed off, or if it's something that maybe even in the moment, you know, you being upset or saddened, you know, is just bouncing off of the other actor.
Yeah, it's really just bouncing off the other actor. Okay. You know, me being 46, I've pretty much lived through everything. You know, I've had a brother that passed away at a young age, had a mother that just died at a young age. And I've seen sadness. I've seen pain. I've been in the military. I was overseas in Bosnia for 11 straight months. I've done all kinds of shit. So there's a lot of scenes that I as an actor, I'm lucky enough to have lived through a lot of shit. And I always have that emotion at the tip of my tongue. So anytime that, okay, we need this. Okay, we got it. I don't have to, you know, go in the back and, you know, think of my dog dying for me to cry or get emotional or whatever, or go over here and, you know, give me 5 minutes to get prepared for this. You know, I'm blessed and I'm also cursed with the ability to always have just about any emotion ready to go.
Mm. Yeah. I heard in another interview you had mentioned as far as being in the military too. And for whatever reason, I'm just getting this question out and I was like, oh, I hope I'm not trying to seem like I'm like peering way too much into personals here, because definitely not that you know situation, but more or less just in the movie and maybe even in the moments too. But yeah, no, I mean that's a good answer too. You know, just being in the moment and, you know, bouncing off of each other and working off of each other. It's a wonderful thing. Yep,
and I think me starting to act or starting to be in film at an older age has benefited me because I've lived through a lot, and any emotion that a director wants me to have, I got it. I've got it.
Well, as far as shooting for an Intrusion and moving on, you know, talking within the movie here, what can you tell us as far as your first days on set? And you know, I know that you rolled in real late, like 1 a.m. or so, and then you had to shoot right that next morning. What were those first scenes there that you had to shoot?
Okay. I don't know if Nick is gonna like the story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. I pulled in really, really late, and I was supposed to just stay at his place, right? So I get there, I go in their guest room, and I lay there for a second. You know, they got 2 dogs, and I'm laying there for a second, and I'm like, something doesn't feel right. And I start coughing a little bit, you know, this and that. All of a sudden, my eyes start swelling up a little bit. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's December, so the heat's on, and you got the dander, you got all this shit, and I'm like, Nick is in his room with his wife, and I texted him like, man, this isn't working. So he comes in, he's like, what's wrong? He walks in and my eyes are swollen up. You know,
oh, no.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get a fucking hotel room because this is not working. Apparently, I was allergic to something in his house, but he was.
Oh no!
Nick was such a trooper. Shit. I mean, he could easily said, "No, fuck you, go to sleep." But he was very, very nice, and I love him to this day for that. But yeah, that was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. He and I were driving around in his vehicle looking for a hotel.
Oh man!
No, and I had to be on set at like 7:30 or 8 that morning. The very first scene, which was the office scene, and I was like, "Holy shit! Well, we're off to a good start." You know. But it worked out, you know.
Oh my God! It's terrible, but also kind of one of these things like, well, it can only get better from here, you know. Hopefully, that's how this shit's gonna happen. And you know, the only hotel we found at the time was the one where you walk in at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's like pimps and hookers in the fucking lobby. No.
But you know, it's funny. The hotel itself was great to me because the rooms were massive, and which, you know, I'm sure you gotta have big rooms for drug deals and shit like that.
Oh man, they're getting a completely different impression of what was going on. Like, this is for you two? No, just me. Just me.
Yeah, exactly. And I was actually
weird.
and there for a few days, you know, for the first few days on set, I'd show back up at like 1 a.m. to go back to my room, and yeah, I would see like hookers over there on the side, you know, like on their phone with their pimps, I'm sure, trying to work out deals and shit like that. And then finally, Alex, who I'm indebted to, he ended up moving me to a better hotel. And I felt like I was like this, you know, a king now, you know, because I'm at a Hampton Inn, you know.
Oh my Lord!
And I'm not staying at like a Roadway Inn or some shit.
It's, you know, it's the small things in life. Shit, it's the small.
It is. It is continental breakfast. You don't, but you just don't know which continent it's coming from.
Oh my God! Well, how about as far as you being initially cast for another role? What was the initial role that you were cast for, and how did you end up with the role of Sam?
Well, from what what are you laughing at?
I'm just picturing all sorts of other shit going on that
the continental breakfast. Okay. I think originally I was really, Nick was looking at me for the detective, which is Scout's role.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then I auditioned, and he was like, "No, this guy's Sam. He's Sam." So yeah.
Oh, shit.
Which actually worked out for everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that initially, was it written as a male role, or was it just written as an officer?
I think it was just written as an officer. Period. It could have been a male or a female. Oh. But once I auditioned, you know, I think in the back of his mind he wanted me for the detective. But then when he sent me the signs for Sam, he's like, well, "Let me just try it out and see what happens." And then I auditioned for Sam, and he dug it. He dug the Southern accent, and it just worked out. And you know, it's funny that Nick's I think grandparents or great grandparents was born and raised in a town about 15 miles south of me.
Oh wow, no kidding.
Yeah, even though he lives in Michigan, I think it may be his mom's side, but yeah, they're from South Arkansas. So I think that was pretty, I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, small. Let's see. He's commenting on your great grandparents.
Great grandparents, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Nice. Yeah, it was funny. I believe it was his in-laws. When I was at the premiere, I was sitting next to his in-laws, or like family of his in-laws. They were right next to me, a really nice older couple, and asked where I was from and different things and, how I was coming to see the movie and whatnot. And it was just so funny at certain points, like, for instance, one of the bigger, shocks when you're scrolling down and the music, all of a sudden is blaring and, I can kind of hear, I'm like, oh my, what is this? What is this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I've kind of taken on his family too. My mother's passed away, so I don't have a mother, and, I haven't spoken to my dad in over a decade. So, all my grandparents are gone, even though my grandparents raised me. So when I was on set in Michigan, I met his parents. I absolutely adore his grandparents. I mean, oh my God. They're fantastic. His grandfather reminds me of my grandfather. So I'm kind of an adopted son, I guess, of his family. I love his grandparents and his parents they're great people, and I really appreciate the opportunity that Nick gave me in this film, and I can't thank him enough. Him and Alex and Sam and all of them for giving me this opportunity. I mean, it was opportunity of a lifetime, and it was. I created some really good friendships, and it was a good time, and I'm so glad I was able to get away into it.
Yeah, and it's something too, as far as hearing with working on film, and different people say, oh, it kind of feels like a family, and I've had da 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 da, and a great time. But as far as like talking to different people involved with this movie, and some of the relationships and bonds and friendships and family like bonds that have come of it, it's a beautiful thing, and I think that it kind of shows, as far as even when I was talking with Erica, she had said that it wasn't a whole lot of time that you and her beforehand, before shooting had gotten together, but there was certainly like it was a rapport and a bond that was there already in the characters, and it's surprising that it wasn't a lot longer. Yeah, I mean, with the, and when you do independent films, I think it's like that. When you do large scale films, you just show up, you do your job, and you leave. It's very structured, which we were structured on film here in this one too. But you're all in it. In an independent film, you're all in it together, and you're all pulling together to make one beautiful thing, and hopefully people will like it. And you create some really, really awesome friendships along the way. Nick and I, Sam and I, Alex and I, Erica, Angelina, and even Kier to this day. I mean, he's a great guy. To be such a huge star. He is such down to earth guy. Yeah. And he's such a nice guy. I love him to death. I'll always cherish this film and take it with me wherever I go. Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. Well, and kind of going along with some of these things and, some of the coaching maybe involved. You've mentioned in shooting, losing your voice at one point or getting close to losing your voice, and Nick helping you out with some coaching. What went into that? What did he bring, from his background in bands that, assisted with you not completely losing your role here? No voice.
Well, he's an expert at screaming.
Yeah.
And he's and there was an alley scene, I don't know if you remember in the film, where me and the intruder got in a tangle, and then he's running away, and I say, if you ever come around me or my family again, I'm gonna end your fucking life, and I'm screaming it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that was one of the first scenes that we shot, and it was really cold. I just came from Arkansas, so I came from 65 degrees to, it was probably maybe 15 or 20 degrees in an alley, and it was cold, and I think we did that scene like 15 times. And that night when I got back to the hotel, I was like, something's not right. And then I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh shit. Because if I lose my voice, that's it. We gotta pause for a couple days and so I can get my voice right. But then I text Nick, and I got with him the next day, and I said, dude, there's got to be a different way to this, because even though we did 15 takes, I shouldn't be losing my voice. He said, well, you're probably screaming from your throat. He said, scream from here. And I said, well, how do you do that? And he showed me. He said, well, just,
yeah,
dive. And that right there, I'll never forget that. That was, that was it. And I started from then on, which you've seen the film, I do a lot of screaming, and I started screaming from my diaphragm, not my throat, and it helped.
Direct result, huh?
Yeah. And plus me, drinking a bunch of lemon tea helped.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you haven't ended up in like a metal band or anything now since you've gotten back home, huh?
Oh God. I'd love to because the past year and a half, I have a lot of anger issues. So I would love to check it out on that microphone,
Yeah. Nice. No, that was cool. That was a cool thing that I had read in another interview here. You were mentioning, having to kind of get that coaching and something that, you might not necessarily, plan on prepping on, but the director, having that approach or, something to do with, like a background with EMT work or different things like that. It's cool to have, that availability to be like, oh, I actually know how to help this situation and try this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was good stuff. I couldn't have done it without him. Yeah.
As far as Sam's character becoming notoriously unliked, and as far as what I see with that is complementary to your work. Some people, that have mentioned, they're like, oh, I just hate this guy. And that's it. It's like, well, yeah, but you have to understand the person that's behind it, that's putting on this role, that's, that's doing the work in this. Like, of course you hate this guy. My wife is like, oh, I just can't stand this fucking dude. I say, yeah, I mean, look at what emotion he's bringing out of you. Like, it's working. That's what an actor's supposed to do.
Yeah.
What tell us about 3 characters in films that you just love to hate. What comes to mind as far as a couple of characters in movies that you may love, or maybe you don't even like the movie, but characters that you just love to hate?
Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon.
Yes. Oh,
Leo Getz. He's exhausting. I would say Shawshank Redemption, The Warden.
Oh, God,
yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. Because he's so hypocritical.
Yeah.
And Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm kind of glad, Jack Nicholson choked her ass out at the end, because that's what I wanted to do too.
Hey man, you read my mind.
Yeah. And Joe Pesci and Lethal Weapon, it's Leo Getz. It's like, I don't know how many they made, 4, but 3 with him. And I hated him up until maybe the last scene when Mel Gibson was at his wife's grave, and he had finally moved on. He was trying to move on, and he was expecting a child with another woman. I think Renee Russo, maybe her name was. And then his character, Joe Pesci's character, came up, and he kind of gave like a really heartwarming speech. And I was like, fuck, I really wanted to hate you. Yeah. And then you give this one big heartwarming speech at the end, and now I freaking like you again. But yeah, he's got to be on top of my list, because I hate exhausting people. Yeah. It's like, just
Yeah, I certainly, that was one of those things too. I mean, especially with, I could even say with an Intrusion is, going through the journey that you do. And then at the end, it's like, oh, is she going to leave him? Is she going to leave? And, it's like that, that Christmas comes around and they're together and happy. And I'm like,
it's not over.
I want to be happy here, but that was one of the things I do love. And something that I want to mention here, and kind of transition into this next question, as far as the ending of the movie, and obviously, without spoilers and whatnot, was one of my favorite parts of it. Kind of the feeling of you go into a movie and you feel like, oh, okay, this is the end. It's happy, sappy, and everything, it's just going to go black. And there's more to it, and then everything kind of unfolds. I love that about the movie. That's one of the things that resonates with me, is the ending. Tell us about a movie that you love that has a great ending, that has a great finale, and a movie that maybe you love that had a terrible finale that just pissed you off, maybe even ruined the rest of the movie for you.
Holy shit. I would say good. Man on Fire.
Oh, yeah.
I would say, yeah, I would say it's as far as good Man on Fire, because, I love film that involves sacrifice. And his character, Denzel Washington's character, is all about sacrifice. He was given up on life, and he ended up this little girl ended up bringing him back, and he just she kind of like Christopher Walken's character said, she taught him to love again. And he just, even though he knew he was dying because, he got shot a few times, he was bleeding out, he knew he was dying, he still had to find this and bring her back to her mother. And, even the ending sucks because his character died. Right. But it was still that bridge scene where they finally meet. And, oh my God, me having two daughters, I would do the exact same thing. I think any father with daughters would do the same, would take bullets and just keep going for their girls. And I love sacrifice in a film. Gladiator's another one. He just sacrificed his life to, kill the, emperor because he's a bad person. So as far as bad, God, that's a good question. I would have to say The Sopranos.
Oh man, I've never finished it. I've never finished it.
How The Sopranos ended, you're like, what? How do you end like that? And when my mom was alive, she was a huge, because, I'm like half Italian. So, I obviously, by DNA, I love the film. And my mom was too. And we called each other right after that. And she was like, what the hell was that? I was like, I don't know. So anybody who's a Sopranos fan knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I remember reading all about it and everybody being pissed off about it. So I was like, oh, that's rough.
But it didn't ruin the whole TV series. But it's still, the ending was like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. Really? This is how you're going to end this beautiful 8, 9, 10-year series? You're going to end it like this? But it was genius because it made people want more.
Oh,
and okay. And I've had people in the past couple of weeks come up to me about Intrusion and say, I was wanting more.
Yeah. Okay.
Of how it ended. So, yeah. So it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. I like the tie-in too. Yeah. That's definitely, that's certainly a feeling at the end of it that you're like, fuck. Just about 20, maybe 10 minutes ago, I was feeling like it was this thing and I was kind of going to be okay with it, kind of bummed out. And then it goes on to this extended explanation of what shit. And it's like, oh, don't end here. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had people seriously come up to me and go, when's the sequel to Intrusion? I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, yeah. I got to know what happens with this and what happens with your character. And what I'm like, you have to talk to Nick about that one.
Yeah. I think somebody at the premiere asked that. God, I wish I remember what Nick said because it was fucking funny. It was something. Oh God,
I think somebody asked. I think somebody asked me about a sequel, and I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty much the sequel is going to be me in jail getting raped."
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was you.
I think it was me.
Yeah. Somebody had answered, and it was like, "Oh shit, that's going to take a different dynamic for a sequel." Oh my God, that's absolutely nuts. All right, so last up, what I want to touch on here is you mentioned the incredible cast, the incredible crew, but within an Intrusion, some of the people that maybe haven't gotten highlighted, as far as you have production design, you have sound, you have. I'm going to be having on Andy Nelson, who did the score. Some of the people that stand out to you as far as people that deserve the shout out that may have been behind the scenes making this bad boy happen.
Well, all of them, but Cy, the DP, was unreal. Sam did a great job. Sam did a great job of doing his producer things, which I admire because I've done that before. Alex, who wore probably 16 hats, and helped me out in one scene. And still to this day, people don't realize how much he helped me in that scene. It was the bar scene. And okay. You've seen the film, so the bar scene, I do have a story to tell you about that. It was probably second to last day, and I was working on it was second to last day for me, and I was running on fumes, and it was a long scene, like a 13-page scene, and I thought I was prepared, and we got on set. And I was like, I've forgotten everything. I have nothing left in this tank. We're gonna have to figure something else out. And Nick was great in everything I asked. And you got me?
Yep.
Hang on. People keep calling me. Okay, here we go. Okay. So I got with Alex, and we actually went to a small little diner next to the location, and we were trying to go over the line. He was trying to help me out, basically, because I had forgotten all the lines, everything. I had forgotten a name that morning. And bless him, he was trying to help me out, trying to go over the lines with me. Alex was, and we got back to the set. It didn't help. Even though he tried, I just couldn't get it going. So I told Nick, I said, look, the scene, I'm looking down at my drink, right? So I said, just give me the fucking script. Just give me the script. I'm going to put it down here. Even though I'm looking down at my drink, I'm looking at the script. And that's how I got through that scene.
Okay.
That's how I got through that scene. I basically but I didn't look at the script the whole time. Just, I needed something to get me going. I needed that lighter fluid to help the fire. And then once I sprayed a little lighter fluid on it, I was good to go.
Okay. Wow.
So,
shit.
Yeah. So, Cy, Alex, Angelina, who played my daughter, was perfect for this role. And she acted like, her mannerisms was somewhat like, I have two teenage daughters. So it was really easy to get in character with her, because I would always resort back to how I would talk to my teenage daughters.
Okay.
So she did great. Angelina's mom, Annette, was very helpful on set. And honestly, Erica, I can't say, I could say so many good things about her. She was perfect for playing my wife, and how we bounced off each other and everything. She was very receptive to everything that I did. And I think I was pretty receptive to everything she did. So I for my performance in this film, I would, between Nick just being a really cool director, I call him actor's director, because he was just like, I was like, well, why don't we do this and do that? And let's try this out. Okay, let's try it out. Very cool. And I can't say enough about him as a director. And Erica at playing my wife, it was so easy to bounce off her. I call her the trampoline, because it was like as soon as I jump, I would bounce. She would bounce right back, and I would just be back and forth.
Yeah.
Wow. So
yeah,
she was great.
I mean, that's awesome. I love that. And I wished in the previous couple that I did too, I would have asked that question, just because there's so many hands and it's a cool thing that you don't really realize. I mean, myself not being involved in film, but I guess, you know, out of being involved in music, it's one thing, you know, you don't realize up until you're involved with it, how many different hands are at play as far as making one thing happen. You know, you have an album that, you know, you think it just took one guy, that maybe it was just one person writing, but then you have a whole band that's playing it. You have someone who's recording it, someone who's mixing it. You have a film that you have lighting, you have sound, you have, you know, special effects, you have, you know, score, you know, and so obviously it's awesome to speak with actors and directors and different things too. But, you know, the behind the scenes and things that are really making, you know, the shit, you know, get going, you know, from day to day, it's a beautiful thing to see. And, I'm going to be having a couple other people in the coming seasons, the coming months that are involved in the movie here to talk more about, you know, different things with effects and different, you know, different aspects of the movie too. So I love that.
Yeah. Thank you for taking on the film and taking on the interviews of myself and Erica and Nick and everybody. That's really cool of you to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, not a problem. It's been my pleasure. This has been fucking awesome. It's been a journey, and you know, definitely something different that I've never gotten to do before, and it's been an honor. It's been really cool, you know. And
anytime in the future, if you just want to get together and interview, just talk about bullshit. Let's do it.
I love it. I love it. I have a couple of things in mind here, actually, for some things in the months coming. So yeah, I will take you up on that, my man, for sure.
Cool.
Last up here, I wanted to, you know, end this off and wrap it up with the finale here and ask you, if you had the opportunity, a role was coming across your desk, and let's say even it was a horror movie, they were remaking something that you love, or let's say it's a movie that you just didn't think that the original landed. It was a cool idea, but you would really think that, you know, that a nice remake would do. What would be something that you would love to star in?
Oh my God.
Maybe not even a horror. That might make it a little bit more difficult, but a movie that you saw where it was like, man, it just didn't quite land. You know, a good remake of this would actually do the deed. I was talking to Nick and he mentioned Prophecy. I don't know if you remember that bad boy. I was like, shit.
No.
Cool.
Nick is like the film encyclopedia. Yeah, there's not a film that I can't mention. Is I know that one. It's like shit. All right. God Almighty, that is a really good question. I wish I'd had.
You know, I have another idea actually. If that one's stumping along, I've got another idea. So how about this? So let's say hypothetically you get cast in a role. You and your friends are going to go and see this band right behind you.
Yeah.
You're going to go see Boston. All right. On your way there, something trips up the journey. You guys have to fight off something. You come across something that's killing everybody. What's this creature feature that you're going to star in? What are you going to have to fight off? Some zombies, some sort of monster?
You know, I'm kind of digging this whole zombie thing. I love World War Z. World War Z is, you know, and I can't remember who I was talking to about the World War Z zombies versus the, you do not want to fuck with them. If anything, you want to have the Walking Dead zombies because they're slow and you just mow them down. But the World War Z zombies are like NFL players. They fuck, they're fast. You know, you can't get away from them. Yeah. I would love to do honestly, I would love to do a Western. That's my dream role.
Oh yeah. That'd be awesome.
I'm talking like an authentic Western, not this modern day bullshit Western they do nowadays with, like, you know, I see a lot of Westerns nowadays where they're like, they're speaking like we speak now. First, I'm talking about a true Western, like Unforgiven, Tombstone, something like that. Oh, that's what I would love to do. That's what I would love to do. Actually, I've auditioned a couple times for Yellowstone and never got a role. I would love to get a role in that one.
Oh yeah. Wow. Okay.
Even though that's not technically a Western, but
that's very much the vibe of it, though. Overall, the aesthetic of it, for sure.
Yeah, I would love to do a Western. That is my thing, man.
Man, that'd be awesome. I know Michael, who he was in Bone Tomahawk. Have you seen that?
I haven't. No. Mm-hmm.
So the director of that movie is actually an author too, and he has a couple of books that kind of over the years, he's mentioned, kind of developing into film. I think a couple of, production companies have picked up a book called The Congregation of Jackals, which is a Western. If you're big into reading and big into Westerns, that book is brutal. But man, that dude can fucking paint a picture for sure.
Now, are you talking about Michael Emery? Or who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
A funny story about him. We had the same tattoo at the same exact location.
I saw that. How does that happen?
I don't know. I remember. Yeah, I picked him up.
Abducted by aliens, and it just fucking left the same marker.
I don't know. I picked him up, or maybe we were on set at the house. But we have been together already for a day, and the next day we were at this house. We were talking about tattoos, and he showed me his tattoo, and I was like, "Look at this!" And I showed him my tattoo, and I was like, "Holy shit!" The exact same tattoo on the exact same spot on your body.
That's insane.
What are the odds?
Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely nuts. At some point, if you guys do a sequel, maybe you can get someone else from the cast to get the same thing. And it can just kind of be a generational thing.
Well, I tried to get Erica to get the same tattoo, but she wanted to put it as a tramp stamp. So I said, nah, I don't think that. Erica, I hope you're watching.
That is absolutely fun. Look, man, this is wrapping up our time. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Honestly, I truly appreciate the time. And I appreciate your service as well. Thank you for your service and the time that you did in the military as well, man. I really appreciate that. Lots of friends and good people that I've had lost and good people that I've had, in my life. So I really appreciate that. And not something that everybody likes to mention nowadays for whatever fucking reason, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yep. And thank you for the interview and thank you for supporting the film.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have this edited within the next couple of weeks here. I'll have it up on YouTube and, post links and different things like that on here too. So we'll have that up here for eternity, if you will.
All right. Good deal.
All right, man. You take care, stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. Take care. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Edited.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.